It's time for the largest buy-in event that I plan on playing during the World Series of Poker. There's a ton of excitement in the air. Not only are there opportunities every day to get six-figure scores after running the stack up to over 1.5 million in chips and making the money in the $1 million mystery bounty event, I haven't had much luck in any other WSOP events so far. I'm hoping that'll change as I walk into the event center to enter into the $25,000 8-handed no-limit tournament, but I don't see exactly where I'm supposed to go. It turns out I'm in the wrong room. Now I've got to hustle to the casino next door. Today is the biggest day of the summer probably. I've got the 8-handed 25K that I registered for. Went to the wrong room for just now. Need to get back to the Paris side. Well, it turns out I was actually in the right room initially, and I need to hustle back about a quarter mile. I finally make it to my seat. We've got 150,000 in chips to start, with blinds at 5,000, 10,000. We've come in on day 2 after more than half the field is already busted, but with 15 big blinds, we don't have the luxury of being patient. We need to run it up from the get-go. The very first hand we're dealt pocket aces after entering from the big blind. Under the gun +1 open jams for 125,000, which is slightly less than what we've got. The hijack calls with his monster stack. I almost don't believe my eyes when I peel the rockets as I snap rejam for 140,000 total. Under the gun +1 has already wagered everything that he's got. The hijack calls our shove for slightly more, and all of a sudden we're in a 3-way all-in for nearly $75,000 worth of chips seconds into the day. Under the gun +1 has Jack 9 of hearts. The hijack has pocket 10s. This is a ridiculous way to enter one of the premier events of the summer.
Nice first hand.
We'll see. One of our table mates does his best to try and jinx me, but I make sure not to count my chickens before they're hatched. The flop comes Queen Jack 6 with 2 clubs. We fade the 10 initially, but Jack 9 improves to a pair. We still need to avoid any 9, 10, or Jack. The turn is another queen, killing the 2 pair outs for under the gun +1. We only need to dodge a Jack or 10 now, and we'll get nearly a triple up. The river is the queen of clubs, giving us an unconventional full house to knock out an opponent and immediately put us in the top half of the field. We waste no time at all, and we're rewarded for not sitting out to avoid the big blind.
I wanted to say bad timing when you sit on big blind.
Yeah.
But that's good that I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Good timing.
He could wait. Come in
First hand. It's one hell of a way to start a high roller tournament. After the first level, we've got over 500,000 in chips. Maybe this is going to be the event in which we make our first ever live WSOP final table. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we've got way more than average as registration closes at the end of the break. Incredible start to the 25K. That was the coolest, most efficient start I could possibly imagine. The clock gets stopped at the first break for us to get new seat assignments after we pick up quite a few last-minute registrations. There are 392 total entries, 158 players still have chips, and the top 59 make the money. We're about to play a new level of 6,000, 12,000, but we're not slowing down at all. We pick up pocket queens in the cutoff. I raise to 25,000. The button has a short stack of 160,000. He 3-bet jams for 13 big blinds. We call. The opponent has King Jack offsuit and is at risk. The flop comes Jack 7 deuce with 2 hearts. The opponent has a heart, but it's the Jack rather than the King, so running hearts would be no good for him. He needs a King or another Jack to stay alive. The turn is the 7 of spades. It pairs the board, but the opponent's still drawing dead to a King or jiggity. The river is the 10 of spades. We get the victory and knock out one more player as our stack climbs over 700,000. I almost can't believe that this is real life. We're running unbelievably well, which is what it takes to beat out a field with world-class players in every seat. We're not done chipping at this level either. Cherish Andrews opens under the gun to 24,000, blind to 6,000, 12,000. I'm in the big blind with pocket 9s. I call. Flop comes Jack 7-4 with 2 diamonds. We don't have a diamond in our hands. We have the 9 of hearts and 9 of spades. I check. Cherish bets 30,000. I'm not going anywhere, though I already don't particularly love the situation. I call. The turn is the 3 of diamonds. We're gonna have some straights. We're gonna have a good amount of flush combos. I lead for 45,000. Cherish thinks it over. She calls. The river is the jack of spades, pairing the board. It's a great card for us, makes it less likely that she has a jack. I lead for 50,000 as sort of a blocker bet. And she raises to 250,000. She had just been caught bluffing in this other spot. She'd been doing pretty well. She had a large stack of over $1 million. And I've called in these spots in other tournaments and I've been wrong. So I really hated to see the raise, but I didn't think that she would raise with trip jacks there even. And I didn't think that she'd raise with an overpair. So I make the call for 200,000 more. She has ace queen offsuit, ace of spades, queen of diamonds. We get a huge pot to come our way, and then shortly after, pick up pocket aces against Dan Sheffield's pocket nines. He had a little over 100,000. We get it all in, get a clean run out. Then the hand right after that, I have pocket queens. I raise, big blind defends. He has 235,000 left. Flop comes 665. He checks. I bet 40,000. He raises to 90,000. I rip it. He calls. He has 7-6 offsuit, so he flops trips. Turn is a 3. River is a 5. He has a full house, and he gets me. But you know, we've got 880,000 right now, which is a good amount over the average, and we're not far from the money, although we're playing against the absolute best players in the world. They're all here competing, and they're not going to go down without a fight. So, you know, we need to play our A game, not do anything stupid, and maybe we run deep. Maybe this is the one. We make it through one more level without anything significant happening. Our stack was at 1.2 million at the high point after we beat Dan Sepio with our aces. Since then, our stack has dwindled to about 780,000 as our table's been selected to be the feature table. We're only 6 away from the money with a $50,000 min cash. We've got several notables around us, including Japanese superstar vlogger Masato. Not only is he a great content creator, he's also a great player in person. As for us, we've got kind of a medium stack in a stressful situation. It's not ideal to add more pressure with the cameras and the big stage, but I'm going to try to block it all out and play my game, which right now is going to consist of mostly cautious play until the money bubble bursts. If I get knocked out at this point, it'd be a huge blunder. We're on a big platform, and it's showtime.
This feature table has everything. You see Laszlo over there, Laszlo Butas, Omaha for rolls, one of the best pot limit Omaha players in the world. Obviously you recognize the gentleman next to him, Eric Seidel, one of the GOATs. We've also got YouTube vloggers, if you like those. We got the biggest Japanese YouTube vlogger in the world, Masato, and the biggest American, I believe, YouTube vlogger in the world, poker vlogger, that is, Brad Owen.
It's such a weird dichotomy. I mean, you look at the dynamic of this final table. Eric Seidel, Laszlo, with Masato and Brad Owen. It's just the old school mixed in with the new school. You've got legends. You've got maybe legends, the next legends coming up. Who knows?
We're 4 away from the money and a 25K high roller with over 1.9 million for first place as we look down at ace-10 offsuit. Will Jaffe, the announcer, mentioned that our opponent Laszlo's at the table. He's in the big blind. Not only is Laszlo perhaps the most talented player in the lineup, he's got a massive stack, so we need to tread carefully in this particular situation because we don't want to lose a big pot since we've got a medium stack, and we know Laszlo is incredibly capable of exerting maximum pressure.
Owen on the button with ace-10.
Obviously a very good hand, but this already gets dicey.
Raise to 50,000.
The nice thing for Brad is that Fritz is really not going to be getting out of line.
But could Laszlo? Laszlo in the big blind with 1.6 million chips can really put a lot of pressure on a medium stack like Brad Owen.
Absolutely. And Laszlo is pretty crazy. But let's see how crazy.
Oh, welcome all of you watching the show. 56th Annual World Series of Poker. Will Jaffe, David Tuckman calling the action. Laszlo makes the call. He is dominated. He's got pretty of a trashy 10-6 offsuit.
We're heads up against an EPT and Triton high roller champion who has 10 million in total live earnings. The flop comes ace-7-5 with 2 hearts, we have top pair, and our overly aggressive opponent drawing nearly dead. He checks. I know that we're almost for sure best, but we don't want this pot to get out of hand when the big blind could certainly attempt a big check raise bluff. I prefer to keep the pot manageable and maybe induce a smaller bluff down the line that we can call. I check back. The turn is the jack of hearts. Laszlo is going to have more flush combos in his range than we will as the pre-flop raiser. He checks. I still think we likely have the best hand, but there's also a possibility we could be drawing dead. I can't emphasize enough how important it is that we get to showdown without risking too many chips. I check back once more with plans of calling a bet on the river almost no matter what if we face one after we've under-repped our top pair. The dealer puts out the jack of diamonds. I'm glad it's not a 4th heart. Laszlo has complete air, but that's not going to stop our opponent from firing a massive amount as a bluff.
And look at this. What a hand by Brad.
Let's say it. That was 140.
Gets the European to bite.
Yeah, well played. I mean,
He won the max.
he got the absolute max and played it safe. Made sure the pot didn't get out of control for him.
Got dropped.
And does entice, induce the European to go for it.
This is such a huge hand and pot to win at this stage in the tournament. Laszlo made over a pot-sized bet on the river. Our call secures us the pot as we increase our chip stack an inch closer to the money. Everyone in the event is so good at bubble play that it's not particularly easy to navigate and outlast them. With only 61 left, we pick up King 10 suited, only 2 away from the money. I almost wish that I'd get dealt 2 blank cards until the money bubble bursts, but if I get playable suited Broadway cards, I'm not going to pass them up. I grab chips and min-raise to 50,000. We see Fritz with a hand that under normal circumstances, he'd be happy to 3-bet rip, but he only needs to outlast 2 players to make a pay jump from $0 to 50,000. It's not worth the risk for him to get involved. He has to make a tight fold. Laszlo is the opponent that I'm worried about the most, since he's the last player remaining with cards who has us covered. He can stretch out his range if he wants to, knowing that he's going to over-realize his equity since he still has a lot more chips than us and can pick up pots if we miss. Perhaps the last time him and I tangled is still in the back of his mind. We've got more chips now to potentially do significant damage to him, and he knows that we won't be opening light at this stage. He folds. The action is on 10-time bracelet winner Eric Seidel in the big blind. We've got him covered. He needs to play tight to avoid busting empty-handed. He's got 15 big blinds and a combo that he's okay playing out of position while getting a discount and closing the action. He calls for 25,000 more. We're heads up against one of poker's all-time greatest players with 48 million in live earnings. The flop comes Queen 10-3 with 2 spades. We've got middle pair and a backdoor straight draw. It's generally not bad against the big blind's defend range. Eric checks this huge draw. We don't need to bet a large amount in order to put our opponent to the test with a short stack. I bet 40,000. It's less than 1/3 pot. Ordinarily, I'd expect to see a jam from Seidel with the ace-high flush draw. I know he's momentarily handcuffed though. He's not able to pull from quite the same bag of tricks as he would if we were on the other side of the money bubble. Eric really has to play cautiously against us since we have a larger stack that we can use to knock him out. The rolls are quite a bit different than when we were heads up with Laszlo. After pondering for a long time, Eric takes a safe route with a call to see the turn. I'm concerned that we could be up against either top pair or a strong draw of some sort. The turn is the Queen of Clubs. This may seem like a bad card, but it's actually a great one for us. No new hands improve to beat us, and there are fewer combinations our opponent could be holding that contain a queen, so it's more likely that we're currently best. Eric checks. He's down to 12.5 big blinds. I take a good look at his stack to ensure if we end up getting this all in, it's not for more than a few $100,000. If we double up our opponent, we should still be able to make the money. I can't let Eric see a free card when there's a high probability that we're in the lead. I make close to a half-pot bet of $100,000 to deny equity and put Seidel in the blender. He has to be thinking about the ace-10 hand that I played against Laszlo, in which I checked back top pair on the flop and the turn. In this instance, he sees me firing both streets, so he has to imagine that I have something incredibly strong, especially when he has removal to flush draws. The thought that he might already be drawing dead has to have crept into his mind. I'd play this the same way with Queen 10 or pocket 10s. Eric's getting over 3-1 on a call with 25% equity against our actual holding. If the hands were face up and there were no ICM implications, he'd certainly stick around. Eric's sharp though. He knows that he has to make it a priority to preserve chips. Every second feels like an hour as we wait for Seidel to make his decision. Ultimately, Eric announces a fold. We don't risk too much in order to win another important pot as we chip up to nearly $1 million. It's a great result for us. I'm setting us up not just for a min cash, but a chance to go deep in an event that doesn't have too many players left between us and the final table. A few hands later, we see Laszlo trying to take advantage of the situation with his large stack and a hand that he'd normally throw in the garbage.
And Laszlo getting really out of line here. Omaha for rolls, looking to put some pressure on these.
Fritz just knows. Look at that.
But
Let's the
Seidel
ace-3 go
with the
Seidel.
ace-queen offsuit. This is going all in the middle.
All of it.
Seidel is fully aware that Laszlo is going to be opening light. As much as he wants to avoid taking risks this close to the money, he can't throw ace-queen into the muck after a late position raised from an aggressive opponent. Instead, all of his chips are thrown into the middle, and he's rewarded with the pot. Laszlo's quick fold with no consideration in making the call is a clear sign that he had air. These are the types of things that I'm paying attention to, so I can formulate a strategy against Laszlo in future spots. The following hand, Laszlo opens with Jack-9 offsuit from the hijack. It's a little on the loose side, not completely unexpected from him though. The small blind Lee has him dominated with Ace-Jack offsuit. He calls for 40,000 more. Masato's in the big blind with a premium. He knows what's been going on and isn't about to let his opponent see a flop for only 2 big blinds. He 3-bets at 255,000 in a spot that looks perfect to go for a light squeeze. Masato just happens to have it. For the second hand in a row, Laszlo folds quickly. Lee follows suit and folds without giving it much thought either. These guys are in there battling. It's one more time that Laszlo gets slapped on the wrist for overexerting himself. You'd think that he'd learn his lesson, but he likes to keep his foot pressed to the floor. The very next hand, Laszlo picks up ace-8 suited and raises from middle position. Lee, who called Laszlo's raise in the previous hand, has pocket kings and isn't going to be calling this time.
And now Lee's picked up kings. So this will not only be the third time that Laszlo has raised, but it'll be the third time in a row he's been played back at.
Yeah, and this is getting to the point where, wow, Brad with a very playable hand. Because Laszlo has raised folded twice in a row, this might look like Kiat saying, hey, you're getting out of line, I'm going to punish you. Brad could get in a lot of trouble here. Quickly gets away, though.
Realizes Lee not getting out of line there. Back over to Laszlo, and he's like, seriously?
I mean, he's got a very playable hand. He just raised with queen 3 offsuit.
Oh, this is a top 5% premium.
240.
And he is, look at that. I was wondering, okay, he understands the perception. I've raised 3 hands in a row. It looks like I'm getting out of line.
Yep, this is a leveling war here.
Except Lee is like, no, I just got it, man.
Now the question is, does Lee want to trap, or does he want to put in another raise?
345.
I'm sorry?
345.
Raised to 345.
This is a good old-fashioned min-raising war. Laszlo says none of that.
Wow. I like it.
Lee's tiny 5-bet basically gets a snap fold from Laszlo, who 4-bet ace-8 suited. From my perspective, we're accumulating evidence that Laszlo is doing everything he can to push players around, but I can't tell if Lee is fighting back with real hands or if he's just playing sheriff and punishing Laszlo for being too aggressive. It's way more likely that Lee 5-bet a monster, but in this case, it's possible that he was trying to send a message to Laszlo not to mess with him. Laszlo just refuses to listen. With 60 players left, we're on the stone bubble playing hand for hand. We're one elimination away from a $50,000 minimum payout. After Lee raises with Queen-Jack offsuit, Laszlo makes the call in the small blind with pocket 6s. The two of them are heads up. The flop comes King 4-3 with 2 spades. Neither player improves. They both check. The turn is the Jack of diamonds, giving Lee second pair in the lead. Laszlo checks. Lee takes a similar approach that I had with my pair against Laszlo. He plays it safe and checks back, knowing that he likely has the best hand. The river is the 8 of spades. The front door flush draw gets there, but there's no reason for either player to think that their opponent has a flush. Laszlo checks. The way that this has been played, Lee correctly assumes that he's got the winner, and he goes for thin value. Lee gathers chips and announces a bet of 90,000. If you thought that this was going to induce a fold from Laszlo, who's been on a steady decline after relentlessly getting re-raised, you're incorrect. He's going to continue blasting away with a gigantic check raise to 525,000, one away from the money. This perfectly exemplifies why I didn't want to bet my ace against someone with Laszlo's profile. He's willing to put players to a decision for most or all of their chips at any time. Lee absolutely hates the spot that he's found himself in. He's got second pair with an expression on his face clearly indicating his frustration. It's not worth the risk right now to try and bluff catch. Lee folds the best hand, and I don't blame him at all. Laszlo steals the pot away and gets back a lot of chips to once again cross the million mark. After a long stretch of hand-for-hand play, fellow Northern Californian Noel Rodriguez gets unlucky and busts out on the stone bubble. I always root for him, so I prefer the bubble boy to be someone else. Still, we're officially in the money. Aussie crusher Josh McCauley's excited. I'm glad to see him make the money. Here's a look at his stack. He's got piles. It's good to make the money with Masato as well. I've never had a ton of success at the WSOP, so this is actually my biggest World Series of Poker cash. We've got slightly less than average stack with 59 left, but maybe we can work some magic to final table and get a 6 or 7 figure score. That's one of the cool things about playing large buy-in events. There aren't that many entries, so once we're in the money, we have a good shot at making the final table. We only need to outlast 51 more players. The only thing is that we have a very long way to go before there are any significant pay jumps. The next pay jump is at 39 players, and it's only to 53,000. We don't even get into 6-figure payout territory until we get 11th place or better. With this structure, we need to use the next few levels to take risks and build a big stack. We were forced to play somewhat cautiously before in order to guarantee $50,000 for us. We accomplished that. Now we're going hard like Timmy No Breaks to give us the best shot at a bracelet and the first place prize of $1.9 million.
59 players left.
So sad.
The pay jump, 40 to 59, I'll get paid the same. 32 to 39, it's not even a $3,000 pay jump. Okay, so it's 1/8 of a buy-in.
That's how I'm looking at it. I'm going to try to find spots to take advantage of what I've seen so far from my opponents. If that means risking it all in certain instances, so be it. We need to final table this or die trying. With 49 left, Laszlo's up to his old tricks, raising with pretty garbage hands to 60,000. By the way, his stack is incorrect. He has closer to 600,000 total. Laszlo's nemesis, Lee, is on the button. Lee's dealt what some would say is the best hand in poker, the jiggities. The two of them together have more history than Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Lee 3-bets to 135,000. He knows Laszlo opens light. I know it as well. Lee 3-bet Laszlo before, Laszlo 4-bet, then snap folded to a 5-bet. After that, we saw Laszlo check raise Lee on the stone bubble with 4th pair as a bluff. It seems the two of them are going after each other, but because their hands haven't gotten to showdown, I don't realize that Lee has just kind of had it most of the time when they've gotten into battles with each other. I look down at ace-10 offsuit. In this instance, I'm not inclined to fold right away. I haven't shown down any weak hands. I've been quite card dead the last few hours, but I've won a few pots and my image is extremely solid. I get the sense that there's been a strong bit of f***ery between the two guys who have put chips in the middle, though it's been more one-sided than I've been perceiving it to be. With no significant pay jumps in sight and 25 big blinds in front of us, I'm going to cash in on my image and the fact that these two keep tangling with each other. I'm swinging for the fences.
And Brad now with ace-10 thinking, what is going on here? And Brad rips!
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Should be about 750.
So Laszlo does get out of the way. He raised folds on a 7 big blind stack.
And
That is very Helmuthian, I will say. Kiat 3-bets.
755.
And Owen is all in. Back over to Kiat with jacks.
And this
He
is
makes the
cold,
call.
and Brad is in terrible shape here.
You're in good shape.
We got a
Got a little out of
1.6
line.
million chip pot. Brad says I got out a little out of line.
This is a terrible feeling. I tried to take advantage of what I thought was my opponents going after each other, but I get caught in the crossfire, getting it in awful. I thought there'd be a good chance that I'd get snap folds. Instead, I look like an idiot. I'm all in and at risk while dominated. The one good thing is that I cold 4-bet jammed with an ace in my hand. If no one has pocket aces, we'll always have around 30% equity. Even being up against jacks in this instance, it's not over. If we can win, we'll have one of the top stacks to position ourselves for a deep run. The flop comes King 7-3 Rainbow. It's not quite what we were hoping to see. There's no real sweat even. If we don't hit an ace, we're out with a min cash. The turn is the 10 of hearts, giving us the harder pair to hit since Laszlo folded a 10. It does almost nothing for us. We're hanging on to only a sliver of hope that we can stay alive. The river is the 6 of spades. I try to make one move and run into a monster. I make the money and get the biggest WSOP payout that I've ever gotten, but I'm upset with myself for losing patience and attempting a play that wasn't necessary.
I mean, I think that was kind of the Laszlo effect. The guy just looks like he's on monkey tilt, gets Brad to rip it in cold with the ace-10 off, and he's going to be out of here. We'll pick up some footage for the vlog, but not the finish he was looking for.
Again, Brad.
Day 2 for the win. This is fun.
See you guys.
So we lose one YouTube star. We still have that guy, though, Masato Yokosawa. GG, Brad Owen. You'll see him again. And I say he definitely, at some point, will win a bracelet. Going out there and saying it.
I don't know, after this, Dave, I might be taking the other side of that butt. Are you offering even money?
Even money. I said I had one bracelet in his career.
Booked.
While I'm disappointed to exit early, I'm going to make damn sure that Tuckman wins the bet. I don't know if it'll happen in a year from now or in 20 years, but I absolutely will be taking home a bracelet at some point in my career. For now, it's bittersweet to end in 49th place. Among the world's best players, it's not such a bad spot to finish though. We cash out for $50,000 and profit over $25,000 in a high roller bracelet event.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
How are you?
Doing all right.
What are we doing today?
Today we're playing the $50,000 Players Championship, 9 games against the best in the world, biggest buy-in tournament of the summer, against the toughest opponents, so fuck. This is me, more nervous than I've ever been before entering a poker tournament because I'm putting myself to the ultimate test, playing a $50,000 buy-in against the best in the world, including former players of the year, Hall of Famers, and future Hall of Famers, and variations of poker that I just learned weeks ago. How on earth did I get here as someone who's known almost exclusively for playing No Limit Texas Hold'em? It started in December last year when I won my 3rd ever horse event for over $60,000 with the final table stacked full of bracelet winners. From here, I caught the bug and decided to study in preparation for potentially a big summer without really letting anyone else know.
Do you want people to know that I'm coaching you? That's actually an important question.
That is a good question. I've kind of just been debating whether or not I want to tell people publicly that I'm going hard this summer. Because then it puts more pressure on me to do it.
That's sharp. I think that not telling people and then just doing it this year specifically is really sharp.
Yeah.
Right? This we're going after it, but this is year 1. We're going to be the fish everywhere we go,
Right.
and people are going to see us as the fish everywhere we go. And so I agree with not telling people.
Behind the scenes, I've been getting coaching from some of the best players on the planet in their respective games, including Nick Petrangelo for No Limit Hold'em, John Turner for the draw games, which include Deuce of 7 triple draw, No Limit Deuce of 7, Ace of 5, and Badoogie. Matt Vengren, mostly for Stud High, Stud 8, and Raz. He's the one who helped coach me to the Horse Championship victory in December. Then finally, I have Dylan Wiseman coaching me for 4-card events, including PLO, PLO 8, Big O, and Limit 08. It's tough to try and learn so many games at once, but I'm excited to take on the challenge and play as much as I can. I even cash and make the final table of my first ever Limit 08 only event in Florida.
How's this feeling for you?
Feels good? Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, not too overwhelming. Feels
No.
like it's at a good pace.
Yeah, I mean, it was all going into this whole process. I knew, this was going to be like daunting, trying to learn a fuck ton of games all at once. But I feel like, almost like it's like a loading bar and I'm like 3% there, but I know a little bit more what it looks like.
I actually think that, you know how it's like it loads really chunky at the beginning and then hits a spurt of like 20%, and then it loads really slow again. I want you to just get to the 20% as close as we can, and then it's going to load slow again because we have to get you really, really good.
One of the first steps in our plan of attack is looking over the WSOP schedule to see what events we're going to be playing in order to better determine what we want to focus on.
Anytime that you can play mixed events with no limit in them and PLO in them is actually very good for you. Play the 1500 low ball, 6-handed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's a great tournament for you. Great tournament for you. Probably skipping the PPC for you. this year?
Probably, but if I do something good, like really good somehow, if
I
I'm
want you to- yeah.
up on the summer by that point, I might take a shot at it.
I hear you. If you do want to play it, that means you have to get it's a fucking grind.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a
It
bucket
is
list. So I don't really intend to play it, but it's just like 10% chance.
It's a great tournament. It's 5 days against all the best players, and it's super grueling mentally and emotionally. And
Yeah.
so you have to kind of recognize the opportunity cost of playing it. It's not just the dollars; it's the mental energy.
After scouring through the list, I put together a tentative schedule of what I'm going to play, and it's clear it's going to be by far the most grueling couple months of my poker career in terms of total entries and buy-in amounts. So I imagine I'm going to be playing basically like the majority of the 10K events, which should be, I mean, I'm probably going to fire like potentially up to like 500K worth of events or something. I'm not trying to punt $500,000 in buy-ins and tens of thousands in coaching, so I'm sometimes having multiple coaching sessions a day for 4-card games, then going to draw or stud sessions. Then, on my own, I'm grinding the solver to prepare the best I possibly can. All the effort is starting to pay off.
You're really improving. You're seeing what hands you're supposed to go with. I think now the things that we're learning are the tournament ideas, right? We've sat in the trainer a lot, and so you're getting that portion of the puzzle figured out. But now it's about just putting in more volume.
The WSOP is quickly approaching, and I'm happy to play wherever I can get the reps in. I'm going to the Orleans to play $150 mixed draw tournaments. I enter a tours tournament at Planet Hollywood and actually make the final table with some tough competition and a lot of bracelet winners in the field. I get my first ever cash in a live event that has deuce to 7 triple draw included in it, which I'm proud of. Meanwhile, if I have any spare time, I'm grinding small buy-in events at home, and I'm even playing free tournaments just to get additional practice. The competition isn't particularly tough, but I'm racking up win after win in all sorts of 4-card, stud, and draw variations. I'm becoming more and more confident in my ability. As I have my last few coaching sessions leading up to the summer, I can't wait for the WSOP to begin. One thing about the screenshot that I sent you about my schedule is, I did put like 50K Players Championship on there and then put not 100% sure. Basically, the only way I play that is if we like crushed some 10K or 1500 or something first. So I'm sure you don't want 5% of that, but
I'd still take a piece. If we're doing good on the series, I'd still buy a sweat in the end. It's obviously an insanely tough tournament and really grueling, but I think that if you're stoked and you're doing well during the summer and you want to play it, yes. And a great thing to shoot for is next WSOP. We're going to play it essentially, right?
I like that plan. Yeah, that's
cool.
pretty much
Awesome.
right. 2 days before the WSOP, I decided to let people know my plan for the summer to hopefully get people excited and let them know not to worry if they see me getting torched in a lot of events, because I'm coming into the series with a good understanding that even though I've been studying a lot the last few months, I'm still a big dog against the elite pros who have been studying these games and playing them for decades. As much as I'd love to have success right away, I'm not too concerned about the short-term results. I've got my mind mostly on the long game, but I still want to prove to myself and others that I can compete in big buy-in events against tough competition. My plan is creating some buzz as people are reaching out about potentially picking me in the annual 25K fantasy draft.
Brad Owen, $1. Brad Owen, $2, $3. Brad Owen, $3, $4, $5. Brad Owen, $12 going once, $12 going twice, $12 sold. Brad Owen to Girls Dads.
It's cool to be drafted for the first time and to go for a decent amount. I'm happy that multiple groups of people have faith that I'll have a successful summer with a lot of upside. Now the WSOP is officially here, and it's time to execute when it counts. I'm about to have 6 figures at risk with pressure at an all-time high. The first test for me is the 1500 Limit 08 event. This is my best game out of the non-Hold'em variations. It's a split pot game. Each player's dealt 4 hole cards, and at least half the pot goes to whoever has the highest hand, using exactly 2 of your hole cards and 3 of the community cards on the board. You can also win half the pot if you have a qualifying low. To make a qualifying low, you have to have a 5-card hand that's 8 or lower. In this game, you really want starting hands like Ace King 3 Deuce or Ace Ace 3 Deuce. If you can make a wheel, that's a powerful high hand, and it's the nuts for the low. I run up a big stack to over 200,000 at the high point after starting with 25,000, but I end the day with 154,000, which is still well above average. I make my first day 2 of the series, and I'm chip leader at my table, not far from the money. I run well right away to increase the stack. It doesn't take long for us to get some good news.
Congratulations, you have all made the money.
Yes, nice job, guys. The very first non-hold'em WSOP event I've ever played, I make the money. I've also cashed in the only 2 Limit 08 events that I've ever bought into. It's a good start to the summer of mixed events. I get on the board for fantasy, but unfortunately I run cold after the bubble burst, and I'm eliminated in 91st place for a min cash. I make day 2 and a few pay jumps in the 1K mystery bounty and bust right before registration closes for my first huge test, which is the $10,000 Limit 08 Championship event. If things go well, this is my best shot at winning a bracelet this summer because it's a small field and 08 is my best game outside of No Limit Hold'em. I start with 60,000 in chips and need to spin it immediately to catch up to the rest of the field. After scrapping for a couple of hours, there are only 43 players remaining. We're 10 away from the money with $470,000 and some jewelry up top for first, but I'm short. After getting quartered with ace-ace 8-3 in the big blind, I get knocked out the next hand in 41st, 8 away from the money. Although I don't get my first cash in a 10K championship event, I feel good about my game and outlasting quite a few superstars. I'm optimistic about firing in the rest of the new events for me. We fast forward a couple weeks and I've gotten on the board a ton in no limit tournaments, but I can't seem to get much traction in any other 10K events. Maybe that'll change as we bag a big stack in day 1 of the 10K horse championship. Several hours into day 2, there are 40 left and 32 make the money with 450,000 for first. It's another good opportunity to possibly make the money, the final table, and win a bracelet. But I'm at the table of death with Sean Deeb, Jason Mercier, Ari Angle, and plenty of other good players. Still, it's looking like I've got an okay shot at minimally cashing my first championship event since there are 10 to 15 shorter stacks at the moment. Take a good look at our chips as we approach the bubble because about 70% of it disappears minutes later and turns into this as I lose a massive cooler to Jason Mercier in a blind versus blind hand in 08 after my nut low gets counterfeited while I was holding ace-king 8-deuce on a 10-6-4 7-ace run out against Mercier's ace-6-5-3. Jason had a straight on the turn, then rivered a better low than me playing 6-5-4-3 ace against my 7-6-4 deuce ace. I don't have much of a choice being one of the shortest stacks. I get it all in right after in Raz and get knocked out 6 away from the money to soft bubble another championship event. I just busted the 10K horse, like 5 or 6 away from the money. 3 people busted out like the same hand as I did on the soft bubble. Really disappointing. Lost a massive pot where I got like 6 outed to get scooped on the river. As we're about halfway through the summer, and I'm looking through the schedule realizing most of the tournaments I was looking forward to playing are over and I've bricked them, I'm feeling pretty down. I just needed 1 or 2 more hands to go my way in some of the championship events to at least make the money. I've soft bubbled 3 of them, which is disappointing because if I'd finished on the other side of the money bubble in those tournaments, I'd minimally have $60,000 more. As is, I'm stuck about $100,000 with almost no results to show for all my effort. I feel like a failure and a joke in the mixed games, even though I've been so close to getting on the board in a big way. The thing is that no one cares about the close calls and almost cashes. What's keeping me afloat is that I've been cashing consistently in the no limit tournaments, and I at least got a small cash in a PLO event during a stretch in which I got on the board 5 out of 7 days with a $50,000 payout in the biggest buy-in event that I had planned for the summer. I'm not giving up on my aspirations though. I hop into the 3K 9-game mix to apply everything that I've been learning up to this point. I make it to day 2 with less than average, but I've been playing against some tough competition in what's essentially a mini players championship. It's all the same games against a lot of the same players. I get off to a hot start on day 2, winning some key pots against Brian Rast in 08, Stud 8, and PLO with my coach Matt Vengren at the same tables watching as we inch towards the money. I don't think that I can take another bubble, but we're still 35 away from getting paid and have a long way to go. I hit a wall not being able to get much going as I move to a table with a lot of larger stacks. Mine dwindles while we're only 2 away from the money. Ultimately, I get 54th. Still, I'm content to get on the board in a mixed event against extremely tough opponents. I didn't run particularly well the last few hours, but I'm proud of this cash because it's my first time making the money in a WSOP event with any draw games. One of the biggest pots I won was actually a no-limit deuce to 7 single draw. I've got some confidence back. Even though I'm down a lot on the summer, having already played 6 figures worth of buy-ins, I've been knocking on the door with some deep runs, and I've been steadily improving. I pushed myself a lot already with the schedule I've taken on. I don't want to look back at my summer and wonder what would happen if I had just taken a shot in the 50K Poker Players Championship. I decided to put myself to the ultimate test and play it. I announced on Twitter that I'll be hopping in and that I'm selling 70% of my action at a markdown of 0.9. I know the other players in the field are better and more experienced, but I want to push myself. I appreciate anyone who's willing to invest and help me live out my dream while I capture the whole thing and take you guys on the journey with me. After just 3 hours, I completely sell out, and I'm now committed to playing what many consider to be the most prestigious event of the year. It's the day of the tournament. I'm as nervous as I can possibly be to step in the ring with killers. I FaceTime my son, help settle the nerves, and remember that no matter what happens, there are more important things than my poker results. I love you. There's no more time for studying. There's no more time to get reps in. We're about to play the largest buy-in that I've ever played to determine who's poker's best all-around player.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
How are you?
Doing all right.
What are we doing today?
Today we're playing the $50,000 Players Championship, 9 games against the best in the world, biggest buy-in tournament of the summer, against the toughest opponents. So, fuck.
You look nervous.
Yeah.
It's cool. Let's get away from this backlit, but let's walk and talk.
Yeah.
So, excitement?
Yeah. Nervous, anxious, excited. You know, in some ways I feel like I don't have a lot of pressure since these guys all have more experience than me, but I sold 70% of myself at a markdown, and that's just awesome to be in this position where viewers are happy to kind of support the journey and everything, but I don't want to let them down, and I don't want to look like an idiot out there, so like, I mean, it'd be disappointing to like bust early. Here we are at the window, buying into a $50,000 tournament after already playing 6 figures worth of buy-ins the last few weeks. I've got a lot of my own money riding on this, not just on the buy-in, but the tens of thousands of dollars that I've spent preparing for this moment and the countless hours studying. Regardless of how I do, it's a huge accomplishment just to make it to this point in poker and be one of the 100 or so players who's able to enter this event. I 100% wouldn't be able to get here if it wasn't for you guys, not just those who bought action, but you viewers who've been supporting me on YouTube and other platforms for almost a decade. I appreciate the role that I have in poker, and as the WPT ambassador, you guys tuning in and signing up to Club WPT Gold using code BRAD allows me to continue to push myself while I take you along for the ride. As a thank you, I'm hosting a 100K free roll on Gold for those of you who have signed up using my code. The free roll will take place on September 21st. I have more information in the description box below. Now that we bought into the tournament, I have to draw a table. There isn't a single easy one in the entire event, but there's no turning back at this point. My whole life, I've had 2 competing fears. Like lots of other people, I have a deep fear of failure, particularly in instances exactly like this one in which I'm putting it all on the line, potentially only to strike out while swinging for the fences, and sharing the result with everyone on the internet, subjecting myself to their opinions and criticism. My other big fear is avoiding risks and not realizing my full potential because I so badly don't want to fail that I miss opportunities by not stepping up to the plate at all. If I give in to this fear, I'll never have those massive achievements made even sweeter due to all the failures that led up to the payoff. Regardless of what happens, I'm proud of not letting my fear of failure prevail as I take my seat. And just like I anticipated, we're seated with crushers. 2 to my left is Jungle Man, who's got over 18 million in career live earnings, with his biggest win coming in this exact event 3 years ago. It doesn't get too much easier on the other side of me either. 2 to my right is Scott Seaver. He's last year's Player of the Year after winning 3 bracelets in the month of June. He's someone that I have tons of respect for and I root for, but since he's so talented, I'm not too excited to see him right now. My heart is pounding as I'm sure everyone else is thrilled to see who just got assigned to their table. We've got 300,000 in chips in front of us. It's important to get off to a good start to settle the nerves. My immediate concern is that I'll make a fool out of myself being the first one knocked out of the event. We sit down to pot limit Omaha, which isn't my worst game, but it's a big bet game that can decimate stacks. Everyone's dealt 4 hole cards with a round of betting, then there's a flop, turn, and river like in Hold'em with a round of betting on each street. You have to use exactly 2 of your hole cards and 3 of the 5 cards on the board to make the best 5-card hand. Right off the bat, we see Matt Glantz, who's sitting on my right, win an enormous all-in against Jungle Man to nearly knock out Jungle of the event. I was rooting for Matt hard because I didn't want Jungle Man to have a pile of chips on my left. I prefer the big stacks to be on the right side of me so I don't get punished as much. Poker doesn't care if you've won this event in the past, anyone can get busted at any point, which is what Jungle's desperately trying to avoid as we're under the gun holding Ace King Queen Jack with 1 suit. It's a great starting hand. We're to get involved voluntarily putting chips in play for the first time as I raise to 4,000. I'd be content for everyone to fold, knowing that I at least won 1 hand before getting knocked out. Scott's in the small blind. He doesn't look like he wants to surrender. Here we go. I'm about to tangle with a future Hall of Famer and someone whose banner is on the wall. Scott takes a look down the table to see it's me who raised. Perhaps that makes him more willing to put chips in. He calls. Matt Glantz takes a look at his cards. I'd certainly rather have one opponent this hand. Matt folds. It's heads up with Scott. The flop comes Ace King with 2 diamonds. Welcome to the game. We flop the nuts. Scott checks right away while I'm wondering if this is real life or if I need to wake up from a dream. It's obviously going to be a very good flop for us when we open from early position. I'm considering a few different options for how we should proceed. I'll often have at least trips, and I'll be betting a huge percentage of my range. I down bet to 3,000 to try and keep our opponent in with as many hands as possible, even though he's probably drawing dead or slim. Scott can't fold for that price. Maybe he has a flush draw. He calls while he's still in the middle of a conversation with Matt about the previous hand. The turn is the 3 of spades. It's a blank. Scott checks. I'm worried that he's not strong enough to call a second bet when a card comes out that's not likely to help him. I feign weakness and check back, hoping that it'll induce a bluff or Scott will improve enough that he'll be able to call a river bet. The dealer puts out the 10 of diamonds. We're slightly downgraded as the royal flush gets there. In no limit, it wouldn't be nearly as scary, but losing to a royal is definitely something that we at least have to be a little worried about in PLO, with players getting twice as many cards, making it so they have 6 times as many combinations. Scott checks. We aren't going to be checking back the second nuts. I bet 10,000 and Scott quickly lets his cards go. He probably didn't have much. It isn't too significant of a pot in terms of how large it is, but it's an important one to win in order to gain some confidence. I tend to show a lot of my hands in small stakes cash games or tournaments because it livens things up, and usually those players aren't paying close attention anyway. You won't be seeing me do that here against this caliber of player. We make it through my first 100-minute level of the day without much happening, and I'm completely fine with that, just easing into it. We'll be playing 6 levels, which is 10 hours total, before bagging up. There's not a ton of time for me to decompress on the break. Poker News asked me to do an interview to get my perspective on playing this event for the first time. There are also a handful of spectators that have been watching and rooting for me. It's fun to have interactions with them. I remember coming to my first WSOP in 2010, getting excited to see Dan Harrington, Negreanu, and even the back of Ivy's head. It's cool to be on the other side now, with people excited to see me, even if I'm not necessarily having the best summer. Anything can turn around with just one deep run though. Maybe I can catch lightning in a bottle like I did at the Win Horse event that I won, and make that happen again here. With 9 games in the rotation that switch every 7 hands, sometimes you can play a few games in a row that you're the most comfortable with, but that won't be the case for us when we come back from break.
I think this is kind of not my better games. My better games are No Limit Hold'em, Limit 08, and Deuce to 7 triple draw. So I think those are like almost back to back, or like 3 out of 4 games are those ones. But PLO is not one of my strong suits necessarily. And then like Deuce to 7 single draw is not one of my stronger ones either. So I got to get through those and then get back to the games that I don't suck at.
A few minutes into level 3, you'll notice the Jungle Man is no longer at the table. The 2022 PPC champion is the first player to bust out of the event this year. I have to admit, I'm glad it isn't me. I'm glad he's not at the table. I'm glad to see that even extremely good players can get eliminated at early stages. It kind of mentally takes off some pressure. I've already survived a level. I'm not the first one out. I'm just going to keep playing my game and hopefully catch some cards. The table doesn't get any softer with Dan Smith occupying the empty seat as we play the first hand 7-card stud. This is a limit game with the betting amounts on each street being fixed. Everyone antes before being dealt 2 cards face down, then a 3rd card face up. The lowest up card gets punished and is forced to put in a small amount as the bring-in. In this case, the bring-in is Scott Seaver, who has a 3-up. He gets things started putting out a 1K chip. The action rotates clockwise from there. We've got a 7-up and 9-7 in the hole. I'm going to play our pair of 7s. I can either call the 1K or I can complete the bet and make it 4,000 to go. I choose to complete in order to try to thin out the field. It folds to Brian Tate. He's not afraid of my 7-up. He raises to 8,000. Scott folds. The action's back on us. With the antes in there, the bring-in, and me already completing the bet, I'm getting a great price to continue. I call. We're heads up. From this point, we're dealt 1 more card face up before another round of betting. We pick up the king of spades, which doesn't help us much. We have the highest up card showing, so we're first to act. I check to the razor. Brian isn't letting up. He bets 4,000. There's a good chance that we're beat, but there's another small bet round, and we're getting a good price. I call once more to see 5th Street, which will be another up card, but this round, the bets increase from 4,000 to 8,000. We pick up trip 7s against our opponent's pretty coordinated board. We're first to act, and we're not going to check because there's a good chance Brian would check back since it's pretty likely that we're going to have 2 pair of trips in this spot. I bet 8,000. Our opponent doesn't love seeing it. He has something decent enough to stick around though. He calls, almost certainly drawing to something better than our trips. We pick out the 10 of spades on 6th Street. It's not likely to help us all that much because it doesn't connect that well with our 7 of hearts, which is our first up card. Still, I bet 8,000 again, representing 3 7s, our actual hand. Brian's still not afraid. He doesn't think for too long before going to his stack, grabbing chips, and making the call with what appears to be a board with a lot of draw potential. The last street is 7th Street. We're dealt this card face down. We pick up a deuce that doesn't help us at all. Our board is the highest with a pair of 7s up, so we're still first to act. I check to give Brian a chance to bluff at it if he missed the draw, while I minimize the damage if he caught something to beat us. He's not going to check back. Brian bets 8,000. I didn't check with intentions to fold. I call. Brian says that he has kings up. He started with buried kings and caught a 2nd pair on 7th Street. Our trips is the best hand. This is a fairly large pot that we're lucky enough to win after drilling the best card possible on 5th Street. 2 hands later, I'm the bring-in with a deuce up and 5 deuce in the hole. Chad of a slage, bracelet winner, WPT winner, and all-around crusher, limps in for 1,000 with a queen of clubs up. When he doesn't complete, it's unlikely that he has a pair of queens. Scott Seaver completes the bet, making it 4,000 to go with a 4-up. He plays stud games pretty aggressively, but he could be rolled up, or maybe he has a high pair or 3 to a straight flush. We're getting a discount with our pair of deuces. I call for 3,000 more. Chad closes the action with a call for 3,000 more as well. 3 of us are making it to 4th Street for another round of small betting. Scott picks up a 9, which should be pretty bad for him most of the time. We pick up another 5, giving us a hidden 2 pair. Chad picks up the 3 of spades. It shouldn't have improved his hand, but he's got the highest board, so he's first to act. He checks. Scott has the betting lead. He continues firing for 4,000. We likely have the best hand and can raise to deny equity. I consider it, but then I call to see 1 more street and maybe raise 5th if our opponents don't get cards that are likely to improve their hands. Chad calls as well. Scott picks up a jack that doesn't interact much with his 9 and 4. We're dealt the 7 of hearts. It doesn't give us a very good looking board even though we're relatively strong. Chad picks up the king of hearts that goes with his queen up, but I still think that we're best with our sneaky 2 pair. Chad's first to act once again with the highest board. He checks. Scott keeps his foot pressed to the floor even with 2 opponents, a board that isn't great, and it being a big bet round. He puts 8,000 out there. I was considering raising on the previous street. I still think we probably have the best hand, but equities are going to run close. Our board isn't great, and it isn't easy to get people to fold in limit games. I plan to call, but rather than grabbing 3 yellow 1K chips and 1 orange 5K chip, I accidentally grabbed 3 5K chips and 1 1K chip to throw it in for a raise. Maybe it's my mind doing it subconsciously because I wanted to do it earlier and didn't. Chad folds quickly as I'm just realizing what I've done. Okay, play it cool, act like we meant to do it. At the moment, I don't mind that we raise since we could be best. We've already gotten 1 player to fold who probably had outs, and we have one of the best hands that we'll ever have here with the board that we're showing. but Scott comes in with a re-raise to 24,000, immediately punishing me. He's representing better than whatever the fuck we've got. I'm concerned that we're drawing slim. His board is pretty terrible though, so we're not going anywhere. This is ballooned into a massive pot. I collect chips, taking a little extra time to make sure that I find the right colors and denominations. I call, praying that I'm not up against trips or higher 2-pair. Scott's dealt a 6 on 6th Street. Again, it's not likely that he connected with it. We're dealt the 8 of clubs. It's a card that probably appears to be okay for us, though it doesn't help us in this instance. Scott bets 8,000 again. We have the possibility of having a straight at this point, which is better than any hand Scott can possibly have, given his 4 uncoordinated up cards. I call, just wanting to get to showdown. We might only have 2 to 4 outs. 7th Street is face down. It'd be great to boat up. Instead, we pick up the 6 of spades that doesn't do anything for us. Scott waves the white flag and checks. Maybe he's doing this with a monster, or maybe he checks knowing that he doesn't have a good chance at winning. After he 3-bet us on 5th Street, I'm not interested in putting any additional chips in the middle. I check back. Scott says that he has aces. I show him that we caught 2-pair on 4th Street. Our accidental raise works out exactly how we drew it up. Just like everyone who's questioned about Epstein, the 5th helps us out a ton. It's a giant pot with 4 big bets each put into the middle, plus a handful of small bets on 3rd and 4th. During the last hand of level 3, while playing a round of 08, we get to showdown in a 3-bet pot against Chad, winning half with a better low. I'm getting good runouts, and things are mostly going my way for us to be 2nd in chip star table and 17th overall, going into another break. The nerves are mostly settled. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable.
I was just kind of concerned I would just bust right away, and these guys are the top players, and I wouldn't know how I'd stack up, and I was running really cold to start. And then I won a few stud hands. Did well in 08, picked up double suited aces, ace, jack 3, but ended up only winning half in that one. And then just played another 3-bet pot and picked up half in this one. So I've got 370,000 right now and feeling good. We just got through the games basically that I feel the most confident in. We are going into the games that I am not as good at. So kind of have to just ride that out and then, hopefully run good in those games.
It's level 4. We're in the big blind playing PLO, holding King, Queen, 10, 6 with King, 10 of diamonds. The cutoff raises to 7,000 while the blinds are at 1,000, 2,500 with a 2,500 big blind ante. Scott calls on the button. I don't necessarily love our hand, but I call to close the action and see a flop. 3 of us are still in. The flop comes Jack 8, 6 with 2 diamonds. We've got bottom pair with flush and straight potential. All of us check. The turn is the 9 of clubs, giving us the nuts with a king high flush redraw. I bet 18,000. Cutoff folds. Scott thinks for a bit before raising to 70,000. It's clear to me that he's got at least Queen 10 as well. I'm just hoping that he doesn't have the ace high flush draw to free roll me. I've got 279,500 total. We're going to potentially be getting almost all of it in, putting it at risk. I re-raised the pot it for 224,500. Scott immediately goes all in for 273,000. We've got him slightly covered. The cards are turned over. Scott has Queen Jack 10-10 for the straight as well, but he's got no flush draw. We have him absolutely crushed as we're free rolling against one of the best in the world with the diamond draw and better straight draw for a pot of nearly 600,000 that'll make us chip leader if we can get any diamond or the case 10. The river is the 4 of hearts. If we could have improved, it would have been one of the coolest pots that I've ever won. We had a 25% chance to hit a flush or higher straight and scoop. Instead, we both take our chips back and chop it up.
Oh my God. Good thing you had 2 10s. Wow. They ended up being a good thing as well.
Next, we're playing no limit deuce to 7. The goal is to make the lowest 5-card hand without making a straight or flush. Deuce 3, 4, 5, 7 is the nuts and is referred to as the wheel in this game. Everyone's dealt 5 cards. There's a round of betting. You can discard and draw 1 to 5 cards after that. Then there's one last round of betting before getting to showdown. Generally, we want to start out with 4 to a 9 or a pat 10 or better. I raised to 8,000 with 4 to a 9. Chino Ream is in the big blind. When he's closing the action, he can defend with either 3 or 4 good cards and draw 1 or 2. He calls, we're heads up. He discards 2. I like it because we'll have a big lead. I discard 1 to draw to the 9. This is when I realize that I've made a huge mistake. I I could have sworn I was drawing to 9-7, but it turns out I didn't spread my cards all the way, and I somehow had a pair of 7s. I accidentally kept both of them. It's about as bad of a situation as it gets. Chino gets his 2 cards. When you're out of position, whether you hit cards or not, you're often going to want to check to the in-position player. Chino checks. I have almost no choice but to turn my hand into a bluff. Despite picking up an ace to make my hand even worse, I bet 16,000. There's a good chance that Chino just caught a pair with one of his 2 new cards, or he has something like king or queen high and is going to fold to our bet after we've told a credible story that we have something good. Instead, Chino immediately disappoints us.
Call. I misread my hand. So that's good news for you. Yeah, it is.
Chino tables 9-8, 5-4 deuce after drawing 2. He caught a super strong hand. 2 kind of ridiculous things happened to cause me max pain in the game that I have the least amount of reps in. It's the second unforced error that I made. The first one worked out just fine against Scott. This one cost me some chips. It's an embarrassing moment. It's rare that I ever make one mistake like misreading hands or putting out the wrong bet amount. Maybe it's nerves, maybe it's the fact that I've been playing every day for a month on little sleep, or a combination of both. Either way, I need to have a short memory because I still have a ton of chips and a lot of poker left to play that I need to be sharp for. In this one, we're playing 7-card stud 8 or better. It's another split pot game with the action similar to stud high and Raz, but the goal in this is to make the best high hand possible to secure at least half the pot, and then you want to make the lowest hand possible with 5 cards below an 8 to qualify. Again, the wheel in this game, which is a straight using ace deuce 3 4 5, is the nut low, and it's also a powerful high hand. Starting hands like pairs of 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, and even kings go down quite a bit in value because it's tough to begin with those types of hands and win more than half the pot. Generally, you want to start out with 3 low cards that can make a straight or flush, and then back your way into 2 pair or better. In this one, we've got the 4 diamonds up with the 5 of hearts and 3 of diamonds in the hole, which is really strong. We've got 3 to the wheel with hopes of at least making a good qualifying low. After everyone anteed, Chad was forced to be the bring-in for 2,000 with the lowest up card. He has the deuce of diamonds. Scott gets a little ambitious as he completes the bet to 5,000 with the king of diamonds up. When he completes showing a king, it's clear that he's got a one-way hand with something like a pair of kings. Maybe he has rolled up kings, meaning that he started with 3 kings. Since I know Scott is only going to be going after half the pot, we have a hand that has great low potential with a decent possibility of making a straight, or maybe some other 2-pair better hand that can beat Scott's presumed kings. I raise to 10,000 in order to isolate Scott, take control of the betting, and get more chips in while we have great starting potential. In this game, you don't get punished as much for being the bring-in with the lowest up card like you do in stud high, because Chad can still have a strong hand in this game with his deuce up. If he has ace deuce 3, for example, he'd have a better low and a better high than us. He calls the 10K, which lets us know that he's likely going for a strong low. Scott can now re-raise or close the action with a call. He calls on 4th Street. Scott gets the ace of hearts to go along with his king of diamonds. We smash the ace of diamonds. It's the exact card that I was hoping for. Not only do we pick up a 4th wheel card, we also pick up a 3rd diamond. After we raised to 10,000 on the previous street, we're going to have 4 wheel cards or a pair of aces a very high percentage of the time. Chad picks up the 4 of clubs. It's a card that probably gives him a 4th card to the low. We've got a 4 up, making it less likely that Chad paired a 4. Scott has the highest board, so he's first to act with his ace king up. He checks. We have a monster. This is still a small bet street. I bet 5,000, expecting at least Chad to come along. Chad raises to 10,000. It's super strong. Scott hit what is generally considered a great card in this game, but it's clear that he doesn't have kings or ace king in the hole. He must only have 1 pair and is concerned that I might have just paired my ace to either take the lead against his pair of kings, or I'm going to have a great shot at winning minimally half the pot with a low. I can potentially have a diamond draw that'll have outs as well. I can also re-raise, and Chad could then re-raise, so not only does Scott need to be worried about both Chad and I having monsters, he needs to be concerned that he's not closing the action and could potentially have to call additional bets on this street if he stays in. Scott makes a disciplined laydown. I'm okay with him being out. I'm surprised that Chad raised while we've got such a strong board showing, but it seems Chad's purpose for doing it was almost entirely to get Scott out, so it'll be a battle of the lows, and we've got to draw to the lowest hand. We're going nowhere. I call. It's now a heads-up battle with Chad. We just need to get there, and we've got 3 more shots to do it. We hit the 7 of clubs, giving us ace 3, 4, 5, 7. We have 5 cards that are 8 or below. Now we officially have a qualifying low hand and a double gutter to go along with it. Chad pairs his 4. It's an okay card for him, but there's no possibility for him to have a 5 card low when he only has 5 cards and 2 of them are 4s. He raised us on the previous street. He has the highest board with his pair showing, so he's first to act, but he's often going to be in trouble against us. He slows down and checks. I know that we 100% have the lead for half the pot. I put the pressure on Chad by betting 10,000 as we're now into the big bet portion of the hand. I'll often either already have a low with a redraw to the straight, or I'll have a pair of aces and a draw to the low, making this a bad spot for Chad if he only has 1 pair and 4 to the low. Chad's getting a ton to 1. He calls. Notice that the chips are left in front of us. That's because in split pot games, there's a good chance that players will only win half the pot, so the dealers save time by keeping the bets in front of the players once it's down to heads up. On 6th Street, we drill the deuce of spades, giving us the wheel. We have the lowest possible 5 card hand, and our straight as a high hand beats nearly everything Chad would play this way, especially since we have removal to his full house combos with a 4 and deuce up. Chad's still first to act with his pair on the board. He checks, knowing that we hit a card that's going to improve us in one way or another. Now I hope that Chad has a pair of 4s and something like ace-5 down so that he'll have a low that's no good. I bet 10,000. Chad can't possibly scoop us. He's flying a bit blind, hoping that we don't have what we've been representing. He calls, drawing dead or slim. 7th is face down. We pick up another 5, which doesn't do anything for us, except it makes it less likely that our opponent is able to make a straight of any sort. Chad checks. We can't possibly get scooped. The only way that we can lose more than half the pot is if Chad has exactly ace-3, 5 of clubs as his down cards. I bet 10,000. Chad immediately goes to his stack, grabs chips, and makes the call. He's not going to be too happy because I have what's known as the wheel. It's got the earthy tones, a smooth draw, enough kick to win me the high and the low. Chad gets coolered as he grabs all 7 of his cards to get a better look at them. He called with 2 pair as his high with 8s and 4s. He also has a qualifying low with ace deuce 3, 4, 8. The footage earlier in the hand briefly shows that he started out with ace 8 in the hole and a deuce up. He caught the 4 on 4th, caught another 4 on 5th, caught 2 pair on 6th, and made a low on 7th. He improved on every street, just enough to get him into a lot of trouble. We win a large pot. We're currently on the second hand at deuce of 7 triple draw. It's one of my favorite games. In it, we have the same goal as deuce of 7 single draw, but this is a limit format and we have 3 opportunities to draw and make the best low hand without hitting a straight or flush. We're in the big blind after Andrew Ye raises to 10,000. Since we get 3 draws and it's limit, the standards for getting involved before the first draw are lower than in single draw. Generally, we'll want to have 3 to an 8-6 or better, while ideally holding a deuce in our hand. We really don't want to hit a straight, so hands like 4, 5, 6 are pretty bad to start with. Here we've got queen 8, 6, 4 deuce. We're going to get involved and draw 1. With our D1 hands, after someone else opens, we're going to be 3-betting. I re-raised to 15,000. No hesitation from Andrew. He immediately calls, indicating that he's likely got a D2 hand. I draw 1 and discard the queen. As expected, the opponent draws 2. When the opponent draws more cards than us on the first 2 draws, we're always going to bet regardless of what we actually picked up because we've got the advantage. You'll notice that I don't even look at our new card before I bet 5,000. Our opponent wants to hang in there. He calls. This is when I look at our new hand for the first time and see that we picked up a 7, giving us 8, 7, 6, 4 deuce. We have a made 8, which is pretty strong. I pat with plans of taking it to showdown. Andrew improved after drawing 2. This time, he only draws 1. He gets his new card. Again, we're going to be betting when the opponent draws more cards than us. This is a big bet round. I bet 10,000. If Andrew doesn't have a clean draw to something good, he may want to give up at this point. He doesn't surrender. He calls knowing that I have a made hand. I pat again. Andrew takes another look at his cards. This is the 3rd and final draw. He draws 1, which I'm glad to see, but he's always going to be drawing to a better hand than our 8-7. After the 3rd draw, Andrew's either going to have a better 8 or even a 7, or he's going to have something that won't be able to call a bet. If he caught a 9 or 10, he probably wouldn't call a bet, so I check to him, maybe give him a chance to bluff at it if he made a pair. This ensures that we're going to get to showdown. Andrew chooses to bet. You can see on my face that I kind of hate it because I know if he's betting for value, we're beat. In limit games, we're often getting too good of a price at the end to fold. I call to see what we're up against. Andrew shows 8, 5, 4, 3 deuce. It's the best possible 8, also known as 8 perfect. He got an incredibly strong hand that he takes me to Value Town with. 2 hands later, we're catching up to the action after the first draw. Matt Glantz is on my right. He raised to 4,000 before the first draw. I called. Andrew Ye defended in the big blind. We all drew 2. The big blind leads for 5,000, which is common in deuce to 7 when everyone draws the same amount and the player first to act improves. Matt Glantz only called the 5,000, which means he might still have a D2 or only improved to a D1 at best. If he had a pat hand, he would have raised. If he had a good D1, he might have also raised. I improved after my first draw to 7-5 4 deuce. We have a draw to the wheel. Like I've done on plenty of drunk nights at the bar, we just need to pick up a 3. I raised to 10,000 in order to steal the betting lead and put pressure on our opponents. Andrew only calls, so he likely just has a worse or similar D1 rather than a good pat hand. Glantz calls to close the action. All 3 of us are still in. Andrew draws 1. Matt draws 1 as well. Our 2 opponents are probably both thrilled to see that I don't immediately pat. I check my hand to pick out which one I'll be drawing. When we all draw 1, it's a pretty fair fight, although our opponents should suspect that I'm drawing to a 7 like I am. One note I'd like to make that you may have already picked up on is that there's a lot more talking and friendly conversation that takes place during mixed events because, in Limit, the decisions are typically more straightforward with the betting amounts being fixed. There's no excessive tanking or anything like that. It makes the games a lot more enjoyable. Matt Gates saying, "Good news." After I draw 1 is a good example of that. When we all draw 1, if someone improves to a pat hand, they're going to be comfortable betting. Andrew bets 10,000 to let us know he probably at least has a made 9 or better. Glantz folds immediately. We picked up a 6 to give us 7-6 5-4 deuce, the 4th best possible hand. Andrew's in trouble. I raised to 20,000. Matt Glantz is paying close attention to how we're playing this triple draw hand. Andrew just saw me raise on the previous street without a made hand. He's got to think that there's some chance that we could be doing this as a bluff with something like a straight, or maybe we have what's called extra info and we've made some pairs along the way and know that there aren't a lot of low cards left in the deck for Andrew to make a hand. Also, we could be raising in this spot with something like 10-7 5-4 deuce, which is considered a convertible. If we get called and the opponent pats, we can discard our 10 and try to draw to something better, or sometimes we can get our opponent to break a 9 or even an 8, discarding one of those to hopefully improve, and we can pat our 10 behind, knowing that if we go into the last draw with a made 10, that we'll end up with the best hand the majority of the time. Andrew calls and has to be feeling uncomfortable as he pats what's almost surely a worse hand, otherwise he would have re-raised. I pat immediately behind. Andrew checks. The dealer burns a card for formality purposes. I reach for chips to bet 10,000. Andrew isn't surprised. He was planning to get to showdown the whole time as he calls. We show him our 7-6. Again, we see Matt Glantz is paying close attention, seeing that our line made sense, and we actually had what we were representing. This is going to be key down the road. Andrew taps the table to say nice hand, then mucks his cards and grabs the top card off the deck to see what it would have been if he had drawn 1. He must have had a hand that could have outdrawn us, but the card Andrew would have gotten appears to be a 9. We get some revenge against Andrew to win a large pot that gets us well over what we started the day with. The longer I'm able to stay alive and the more pots I win, the more calm and focused I'm able to be. We make it to the second to last break of the night with 372,000, keeping us in the top half of the field. There are only 2 more levels to play at day 1. I'm able to enjoy it more and more.
Still just happy to be making it this far. 10 people have busted. I'm getting more and more comfortable. It doesn't feel so much like a 50K. People are really friendly, and I'm just trying to play my game and not beat myself. Yeah, this is a double level, which is nice. So we're coming back to the same limits that we had previously, and yeah, there were some nerves before, but now it's good. I feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident. Gone through all the games twice now, I think, almost. And yeah, I think that deuce to 7 single draw is really the only one that I am pretty uncomfortable with. But it would have been nice if I scooped that 600K pot against Scott also.
It's almost 10 p.m. We're in good shape, but again, things can change quickly. My cameraman has gone home, and in a 50K against tough competition while playing stud games when it's imperative to pay attention, I don't get any footage myself as the deck takes the page out of my son's book and decides not to cooperate. We make it through level 5, but barely won any pots. My stack goes from 370,000 to 256,000. I couldn't get any good runouts in Raz and lost a ton of chips. That trend continues during level 6 as my stack continues to go the wrong way and blinds and limits increase. I'm at least keeping a good mindset, trying not to force anything, while I remind myself how cool it is to be playing in a field with so many incredible players that I've watched on TV for 20 years. I'm still a fan of the game and a fan of certain individuals. The last 2 levels don't go as I'd hoped. It's a somewhat deflating way to end it as I finish with about half starting stack, but I'm content with how I played and the structure's so good, I'll have plenty of chips going into day 2. The experience has been a lot of fun, and I'm happy to still be in. There were 88 total entries on day 1. 68 will come back to day 2, with registration open for a few more levels. The dream is still alive. This is our table draw for day 2. We're next to Matt Glantz once again. Eric Lindgren and Nick Schulman are also at the table. I'm sandwiched between a handful of guys with piles of chips. I'm coming in the shortest, but I slept surprisingly well. I'm in good spirits.
What's up, Mike?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Let's see, had a rough 2 levels last night to end it, which was not good. Went from like 390 at the peak or 400. I've got 146 right now. Just got torched in Raz, and that's a tough one. Started out with, ace deuce 5-4 in one hand, and then caught a pair of aces on 5th, caught a pair of deuces on 6th, and then a jack on 7th. Lost to an 8. And then lost to 3/8 on board in another hand, similar run out. So Raz can just get you. There's a lot of rounds of betting, and if you don't run good in that, then you're gonna get lit up, which is what happened last night. So I still feel good. This is a great structure. 20 people busted yesterday. I'm happy to not be one of those. Today, I've got a lot of big stacks around me. I played with Schulman and Matt Glantz yesterday. They're at my table today. Schulman was only at my table yesterday briefly, but yeah, I mean, he's just such a stud. And again, just happy to make it to day 2 and get some of my money's worth by watching these other players. That's kind of, part of the goal is to sit, observe them, and learn from them, because this isn't just about this year. It's about kind of building a foundation for years to come, and I feel like I'm doing that.
I make it to my seat a little early. It's too bad that my chips didn't miraculously grow overnight, but I don't feel like there's too much pressure. I didn't bust day 1 like a lot of players who were much better than me already did, and we're not close to the money yet. I'll either run it up today or bust, but I'm going to continue to try to play my game. Before we get started, a few more viewers come over to say hi. I'm a southpaw and my handwriting is terrible, particularly on clothing, but it's cool that people want me to sign things for them anyway. It'll be fun to see these sweatshirts on eBay for less than what they were priced at originally. Meanwhile, I'm enjoying seeing and joking around with some of the guys that I played with yesterday.
Together again.
Is this the Brad video? Hi, Brad fans. Oh, I'm ready. I'm excited to play with Brad again. Very nice guy. Good guy to play with. We didn't even play any pots together.
So, Scott, tell me in your words, how did Brad play yesterday?
Honestly, I thought Brad played very well. Easy spot to get intimidated or nervous for the moment, but he just played his game and he played well. It was very cool to see, and there's just something awesome about people coming to this tournament that normally don't, to really test themselves and to grow in their journey in poker. It was really cool to see.
The mixed game community has been extremely welcoming. I'm practically best friends with everyone at this point. Even the top players have given me a ton of respect.
What?
In the zone, left you hanging.
Brutal.
Hey, if that's your worst beat, it'll be good.
Yeah, it's just not quite the worst beat we're going to take today. There's a draw for which game we're going to start out with. They announce I'm already having flashbacks to getting torched in Raz the night before, but having to start out with that game isn't all that bad by itself. The worrisome part for me is that we're starting out in the absolute worst part of the 9-game rotation when it comes to my strengths. Here's the order of the games we play. I couldn't win a hand yesterday in Raz. Next we'll play PLO, which I'm not too terrible at. That's followed by limit hold'em, which is fine. But after that is no limit deuce to 7, my worst game. If I could have picked, I would have started out with deuce to 7 triple draw, because then we play no limit, stud high, and 08. Those are all games that are pretty solid for me. Maybe I've accumulated some run good in Raz though, and I'll start out on a heater. During the second hand of the day, we battle with Eric Lindgren. I completed with 7-5 in the hole and a 3-up. Eric has a 7-up. In this one, the goal is to have the 5 lowest cards possible. Aces are low. The wheel is the nuts. It doesn't matter if you make a straight or a flush. On 4th, I catch a king, the worst card in the deck. Eric catches a deuce, the second lowest card in the deck. He bets. It's a small bet round. I call one time to see if we can improve, and maybe he makes a pair, hits a high card. He catches an 8 while we're dealt a 9. Eric bets, and it's big bet time. I fold. Things are starting out exactly how they ended yesterday, with my stack going the opposite direction it's supposed to. At least this time, the camera's set up to capture it. We see that I'm immediately texting my good buddies who have been following along and giving me moral support. Here's a look at the text. I can't remain down for too long though. I need to stay focused. We get right into another Raz hand with a slam dunk spot. We've got the lowest up card, but Matt Glantz completed with a 9-up. We've got an 8 showing with 2 face cards behind us. I raised to 12,000. It almost doesn't matter what our other 2 cards are as long as we get a decent run out. Matt makes the sharp call after seeing how well I've run in this game over the past few hours of play. We're heads up. Matt gets a deuce. There's a good chance that he just made a pair of deuces. Otherwise, what's he calling our raise with when he has a 9-up if he doesn't have really low cards to go with it, like ace deuce or 3 deuce? Well, it becomes less likely that he has a pair of deuces when the dealer gives us one. Okay, not bad. We have a better looking Raz board with our 8 deuce against Matt's 9 deuce. We're first to act. I bet 6,000. Matt's going nowhere after he improves facing a small bet. 5th Street gives Matt a 7, which probably helps him again. He's going to finish with 9 high at worst, while he can still improve to a 7. Meanwhile, we get another deuce. We're playing a draw to an 8 at best. Matt's first to act since he has the best board with no pair. He checks. There's no way that we can put chips in at this point. I check back. Matt gets dealt a 6 while we get dealt a jack. Our board is getting worse and worse. Matt's getting a terrific run out, and we're continuously getting bags of shit lit on fire placed in front of us. Matt has a mandatory bet. Once again, there's not a lot that I can do. I gather the cards to fold. All I can do is vent to the group chat and move on. The stack dips down to 87,000 after only a few hands. The good news is that I get some wins and limit hold'em to build the stack back up over 120,000 and gain some momentum while we're playing stud 8. Matt Glantz has a 3-up. The 3 players behind us have 9, 10, and a jack up, which are the worst cards because starting hands containing those cards will have a hard time making a low. We have a 7-up and buried kings in the hole. I mentioned earlier that kings aren't good in stud 8 because it's tough for us to make a low, but when the pair is hidden and we have half the players behind us that are almost definitely going to fold if we complete, we're going to be getting involved. I complete the bet to 6,000. As expected, the 2 opponents on our left fold immediately. Showman doesn't seem to want to give up right away even though he has a jack showing. Maybe he has a pair of jacks and thinks that we're going for a low while he can go for the high. He thinks better at getting involved. He folds. The opponent in the 7 seat has a 4-up. If he has 3 to a straight, he might consider calling. He folds instead. It's on Matt Glantz. He probably has a couple of low cards in the hole. He calls for 4,000 more to close the action. We're heads up. Matt's dealt an ace. It's the best card in the deck in stud 8 and really all stud games. We're dealt the deuce of spades. Not bad. Matt now has the best board with his ace high. He checks. Matt doesn't know what we've got. He could think that we just picked up a 4th low card even though we actually wouldn't mind hitting a 3rd king or another pair. I bet 6,000 for value. Matt clearly couldn't be happier to continue with his hand. He calls. Matt drills a king. It's an awful card for him. There's almost no way he improved when we've got 2 kings. We hit an 8, which should appear to be a pretty good card for us because it probably looks like we made a qualifying low. Matt checks. We're into the big bet rounds and we're going for it. I bet 12,000. Matt isn't aborting just yet. He calls. Things are looking decent for us. It shifts a little when Matt hits a pair of aces on 6th Street. It couldn't get much worse. We at least hit a 6 to actually give us a low draw instead of the one that we were pretending to have. Matt checks. I don't see how we're going to bluff him off of aces here. We can improve on the river by either hitting a low or hitting 2 pair for half the pot. I check back to take the free card. As long as we don't hit a 9, 10, jack or queen, we'll have a shot to win at least half. Matt takes a look at his last card, likes what he sees, and bets 12,000. We look down at the jack of spades. It might as well be a buy one, get one free coupon to get punched in the nuts because we don't need or want it. We don't qualify for the low and can't beat Matt's up cards.
Yeah. More tilting at tournament.
Well, in a 50K tournament.
Yeah. It's constant.
I think I've lost like 400K in Raz. And I think I'm doing fine like every other game. Sunday yesterday was alright.
That's how the forefathers wrote it.
Yeah.
You guy must lose in Raz.
Raz is so dumb. There's nothing you can do when you don't hit.
I'm pretty sure I've got this mixed stuff down. You just complain a lot when things don't go your way, and then all of a sudden the poker gods reward you. The next hand we finally get a good run out in a stud game with our 7-up. We keep the pressure on the whole way in a heads up pot. We don't get the job done betting on 4th Street when we catch a deuce, but after we catch a 3 and bet again, we manage to secure the win. Now we're playing deuce to 7 triple draw again. The opponent in the 7 seat raises to 12,000. We've got around 100,000 in chips with 8, 6, 5, 3. I re-raised to 18,000. The opponent calls, he draws 2, we draw 1, he checks, we don't improve but still have an automatic bet for 6,000. The opponent check raises to 12,000. It's pretty wild to do out of position as a bluff against our D1. I already don't like it because we could be drawing dead, but we can't jump ship just yet. I call for 6,000 more. The opponent pats, which is scary. I draw to see if we can make an 8-6. We're in the big bet portion of the hand. The opponent bets 12,000. We don't improve, and we might not be able to win if we hit a deuce. I give up and fold. We're well under 100,000 in chips now. 3 hands later, it folds to Matt Glantz in the small blind. He just limps in. I'm happy about it because we don't have much. I check the option. Matt draws 3. We've only got 2 low cards. I draw 3 as well. When you draw 3, at least one card will likely help you out. Matt bets 6,000 after probably improving to a D2. We smashed the first draw and are now holding 4 to the wheel with 7-7, 5-3 deuce. We almost definitely have the best hand. I raised to 12,000. Matt has something that he can take to war. He calls, sending us to the second draw. He draws 1. I get rid of our pair. Matt checks. I hit a king, but we're getting down to a point in which we need to win pots. I bet 12,000 to keep applying pressure, knowing it's unlikely Matt's going to have a hand strong enough to check raise us with, since half the 7s are accounted for. Matt calls. I'm hoping that he doesn't have a made hand yet. Thankfully, he draws 1. I draw 1 as well. We almost definitely have the best draw. It's just a matter of who's going to make the best hand as the last cards are dealt. There's a good chance neither of us make anything, and we each hit something like a king, queen, ace, or a pair. The pot has gotten inflated. There's a lot more in the middle than I've got in my stack. Matt bets 12,000 to try and steal it. We look down at another deuce. We've got a pair and likely can't win if we just call. We've seen 2 7s and 2 deuces. All that extra info makes it tough for Matt to have a super strong hand. He may be completely bluffing, or he may have an 8 at best. Remember, Matt was paying close attention to our triple draw play yesterday, and I didn't get out of line once. I'm going to try to cash in on our image and the situation by making a play right now. I raised to 24,000. Matt seems disappointed to see the raise. I'm thrilled that he doesn't snap call. We might have just caught him making a move that he's now regretting. He clearly doesn't have a 7. He could have something like 8-7 or a 9 that he's considering parting ways with. This would be a huge pot for us to win at this stage in the tournament. After thinking for an extended period of time, we finally hear from Matt, and it sounds like he's going to fold.
I've never pulled 8-6 in my life in this spot, but it feels like right now.
When Matt gave the speech, I thought for sure he was going to let it go, and we were going to get a giant bluff through to pick up the win. You can see on Schulman's pained face that he knows just how rough it is for me to lose after having a decent amount of hope that Matt was going to fold. Even though Nick missed the fist bump at the start of the day, I've actually known him for several years. We spent some time in Mexico together with a big group, and we're friendly with each other. I don't think that he wanted to see me lose the pot and be on the brink of elimination in a tournament that he knows means a lot to me.
Well, I said, what an emotional edge. Well done.
I thought you were just like in a fold after you said that.
The speech was brutal, but
I mean, it wasn't so I told him what I had.
yeah, but you either right or you would.
If there was ever a time, it would be that time.
Not really.
Why do you say that? You think he doesn't bluff?
Well, I only played with him one day yesterday. Yeah, I didn't see that one time yesterday. Now I can never pull 8-6.
Now you know.
Now I can never pull 8-6.
I'm trying to reset as we've raised with 8-6-5 deuce from the small blind. It's another D1. Those haven't been going particularly well for me though. We're down to dust. The big blind calls. I'm okay with it. We've got a strong hand and we desperately need to accumulate chips. I draw 1 as Matt is still talking about the previous hand.
I think he made a great play because he knows I watched him yesterday and never slowed down with him like that.
We see the opponent is drawn 2. We're in good shape. We just need to improve 1 time after drawing 1 because nearly half of our stack is already in and we have an automatic bet since we're drawing fewer cards than our opponent. The first draw is no help. It's a face card. That's okay. There's still 2 more opportunities to just hit any 9 or lower that doesn't give us a pair. I bet 6,000. I don't anticipate this bet getting through. The next street, we'll be all in for 10,500, which is slightly less than the size of this level's big bet. Our opponent calls, maybe he improved and we've no longer got the advantage. I draw 1, we get some good news. It appears that the opponent didn't improve, he draws 2 again. We have another automatic bet. I do an inventory count. It's something that I'm good at from all my time as a staff accountant doing corporate audits. This is it. I'm all in for my tournament life and the biggest test of my skills that I've ever had as a poker player. The big blind is hesitant. Maybe he still hasn't improved. This has taken a lot longer than expected. It's a great sign. If he had any D1, I'd anticipate a call. Right now, I'd really prefer a fold though. It's quite the sweat, as I'm wondering whether or not I'm still going to be alive in the tournament in 2 minutes from now. Finally, the opponent makes the call. He's probably delighted to see that I'm not able to pat. I draw 1. I'm even more thrilled to see that the opponent isn't drawing 1. He's drawing 2 for the 3rd time in a row. This is it. We're a huge favorite to get the double up against his 5-4 deuce. We've had 6 D1s in a row without improving. We need lucky number 7 to help us out, and we likely don't need that much help since there's a strong possibility that the big blind will hit a high card or a pair with one of his 2 new cards that he's dealt. We sweat his hand so that we know what we need to beat. His first card is a 10. That's not a particularly great one for us. He now has a lot of cards below a 10 that he can hit that'll make it tough for us to win. I'm relieved to see that his final card is a king. He's got an awful hand. It's down to our final card. We just need to end with a lower hand than king 10 high. We can hit any 3, 4, 7, 9, 10, jack, queen, or even king to get a full double up. We pair our deuce instead. For the second hand in a row, we lose the one that we needed to win and end with a pair of deuces. We're out of the tournament, losing a $50,000 buy-in.
Good game, buddy.
A couple of table taps seals our run. The dream of winning the first place prize of $1.3 million and getting the respect of all the guys that I look up to is over. I wanted to prove to myself in the poker world that I can compete in the toughest arena. I'm not sure I accomplished that. I bust out in 84th place out of 107. I gave it my all. It just wasn't quite good enough in this tournament.
I really wanted it. I really wanted to win. I feel pretty good about my play overall. There's plenty of things I need to learn and sharpen up, but yeah, that's the biggest buy-in of the year, and it's dust now, so feel not great. Don't want to lose money that people invested, and you know, just gonna probably take the rest of the day off, decompress. I'm sure tomorrow I'll bounce back and be happy again, but right now it hurts. All right, thanks.
Even though the $50,000 loss is painful, the good news is that the WSOP isn't over. Little do I know, I'm right about to have a deep run in literally the most prestigious tournament on the biggest stage in poker.
This is the World Series of Poker main event.
First hand, aces versus kings.
That is a crazy hand right there.
everything just pretty much went my way today.
522 players left. A massive turnout for this one. 9,735 players.
So, I go ahead and rip it.
Yeah, at least I'm live somewhere. Nope, not anymore.
We have an insane table draw tomorrow, so I think there's a good chance we'll be on the feature table.
Some absolute superstars of the poker world remain. Brent, one of them is here on the main stage.
That's right, Brad Owen, YouTube star, the Vlogfather 2.0, somehow still in this event.
Brad, what is it like to wake up on day 5 of the main event and still be in the hunt?
Brad Owen scores the double up. He's up to more than 1.1 million.
All right. He saw the nerves, right?
Yeah, you can see that was a stressful win.
I thought he was dead. No way he was winning that one.
Yeah, this would be a good one to run deep in. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. It helps out the channel a ton. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting the channel and just my poker journey in general over the last almost 9 years. Because of you guys, I'm able to play, huge buy-in events like this and really test myself and bring you guys along the way. Special thanks goes out to those of you who bought pieces. I'm sorry that, it didn't materialize into a cash or a return on investment, but I hope you at least enjoyed helping make this video what it was. It was such a cool experience for me, really just a bucket list thing, and hopefully I'll have a chance to play it again in the future. And I know that there was no limit hands in this. I just happened to not get into any big ones during this tournament. But, and this is just like a whole completely different style rather than my other vlogs because it's mixed games, but with the buy-in being so large, I hope that it was still exciting for you guys to, see the preparation for it and everything that went into it. Yeah, maybe in the future I'll be able to run a little deeper. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.